previous. Anything come later is not Mechayiv Shua. So it doesn't. It wasn't Michael the debt. It was only Michael the Shua.
Michael the Shua, right?
So after that Eidim comes, so you have to pay.
If he has Eidim, you got to pay, right? There wasn't Michael there. It's Michael the Shua, 100%. Yudches, here's a big one. Actually, wait, we didn't see the, take a look in Piskei Tshuva, Simen Tes Vav, Eis Chaf Aleph, Shaloi Haya Lo Raya. Shaloi Haya Lo Raya. Piskei Tshuva, Tes Vav, Chaf Aleph. Goyim Shulchan Aruch, the Kiveiga, Zatzalni, Zel Shem, Vim Sova She'ein Loi Biyadoi, V'nimtza She'esh Loi, Yichilosoi B'Teila. So if he thinks he doesn't have a raya, he thinks he doesn't have a, he looked through his papers, he couldn't find the receipt, he couldn't find the contract, he couldn't find whatever it is, and then he found it. It's bottle. This is his chiddush. Even if he writes, I'm meichel you without any shkia, without any einus, even if you write, I'm meichel you 100%, it's just a mistake, keep going, pay the guy. It's bottle. Okay, last simon. In your base last sif. Imrab meima pshonim. No, there's two more. Imrab meima pshonim. There's a big chiddush. There's many pshonim. There's many dayanim here. I.e., not one. There's three. With pshara, you don't go acharoiv. You do not go after roiv with pshara. You go after. You need everyone to be masculine. Because it's not a din. There's no din over here, right? It's not a din like, oh, Reuben owes him 50, you owe him 20. They're making a pshara. So there's got to be misdaber to all of them. They got to all agree to the pshara. Imkain, how many dayanim do you need for pshara? You don't need an odd number. You can have an even number. Because they've got to agree anyway. You can have two dayanim. For then you can't have the dayanim. You need to be machriya, right?
So pshara we learned before you even done classrooms.
Right. But the chiddush you can even have two. Two is worse than one. Because two you could have a split judgment. But it doesn't work like that because you anyway need right. You anyway need everyone to agree to the pshara. Okay. Yud Tes. Pshara b'lei kinyan, v'nasi mashkin v'yad pshara n'meinu klom. He did a pshara without a kinyan, but he gave him mashkin. He walked into the basin, they said, Roy said, we don't trust you people, each one of you give us a mashkin of $100, give us a little blank check, we'll do with it what we want afterwards, right? They gave him a mashkin. Einu klom. Doesn't help. He can lose it then and then say, give it back to me, I don't want this pshara.
Wow.
Important to know that, right? He has to say, I'm not giving it to you as an asmachta. Asmachta means there's no smichas das. It's not like, if this happens, then I'll pay you that. That's called smichas das. Asmachta lekanya, it's not chal. If I say to you, come to my house on Shabbos, I'll give you $1 million. It's asmachta lekanya, it's not chal. Right? A lot of the contracts nowadays is asmachta. If you don't pay me $1 million by Tuesday for this land, you got to pay me a knas of 100,000. It's asmachta lekanya. There wasn't Gemira's das. He doesn't owe you the money. Doesn't help. Come to Basin, pay me up. You didn't pay the down payment on time. Too bad. It's asmachta lekanya. Right? He didn't have Gemira's das to really give them money. So even if he says the loik asmachta oy ma'achshav. And if he gives him a star, check, whatever it is, it's nothing.
LMK means it does work.
Yeah, then it does work. If he says then it does work. Right. Take a look in the Shach, Yud Gimel, Ois Aleph. Sorry, what am I talking about here? No. Where's the Shach? Yeah, he says take a look over that, so we're not going to see it. The Shach asks, how does it help? The whole, how does the Loika Smachta work? Let's see. Take a look in Tumim, Mishpat Urim.
In the where?
The Tumim, Yud Tes Ois Ches. Elim Ken Amor Loika Smachta, right? Says the Tumim, Mishpat Urim, first paragraph. Emes Tumim Moed. Sorry, Ein Shach Sifkot Chov Vav Shenich Tzarchiyin. He says it's a massive Tzarchiyin. Be'emes Tumim Moed. B'man Shach. B'may Haid Mari. Iloi Hikne Loi Beguf Amashken Lav Klumhu. The Mona Ein Kamashke Ein Kan. So, if they wasn't makni him the actual mashkin, so there's no mashkin, there's nothing here. So then it does work. So the vadi mustn't noise so basically, if he's actually been makni the actual chayfetz, so they come to the Torah and they say, you say, oh, you $100. So I take this mashkin and I say, you marking it now, it's yours. If they say it's yours. So then of course it's Guzaychen. He was going to actual chayfetz. Right? Why is it, what is saying, the Loika Smachta, or you machshav, how does that help? If he's not going to the mashkin, then he wasn't going to. If he was going to mashkin, what does that help saying this whole Loika Smachta, or machshav? That doesn't help anything. Shach doesn't understand this whole, what does that mean? Okay, Chof. Tzrichim hadayanim nisrache b'chol ha'yichayles sheloi yikablu aleim lodin din Torah. This is maybe the most controversial simon in the whole Choshen Mishpat. Chof. Shulchan Aruch, Seif Chof.
The Yana shouldn't do din.
They should be misrache kama sheyesa, not do din. Din or din Torah? Well, that's what din means. There's no other din. There's only din Torah.
So you should do pshara.
They can't do din of the akum, that's for sure.
They should do pshara.
They should try and always do pshara. You got it, Rabbi Schwartz?
No.
Here. So,
good for you.
Din Torah. No pirish, nothing doing. That's how it is. We don't do din Torah. There's many about the din. I know people went to the base din, said we want din. They said we don't do din. We're not going to pass in din. So much more is l'srachak chalei chayles. I think they say we want din. We don't want pshara. We don't want pshara. So they'll say go to a different base din. They'll do it. Many bought din won't pass in din.
That's the problem, because then somebody always loses out.
Someone always loses out anyway.
In the pshara, everybody loses out.
So they're not going to. We saw before, right? The Pesach Jew brought that pshara means up to shlish. That they should always do the minimum pshara that they can. If one guy is clearly wrong, right? So they don't have to give him money. There's no chiyuv to give every guy who walks in the base of money. That's not pshara. You're just handing out freebies to someone. Pshara means to try and be mefayez daitai. He really feels like I worked in your house for 6 months. You're not going to pay me a penny because there was a leak. Give him something. That's a pshara. If I come to you and say, listen, I want $1 million from you. Let's go to Beis Din. Why? Because I want. You looked at me strange. I want $1 million. Beis Din's not going to say pay him 100,000, give him 10%. That's not pshara.
There's a mitzvah always that he owes money, for example. Then he knows in a pshara he'll at least get away with some of it.
If he's owed money, if he thinks he's owed money.
No, if he owes money, you gave me a loan. And then I say you don't owe me, I don't owe you anything.
I don't owe you anything.
And you go to pshara.
How does Beis Din know you if you owe or not?
So what does he do? He goes, sure, he goes leash, whatever, less, 20%.
I don't think if there's no. I think nowadays, if Beis Din say there's no testament, there's no proof, give a raya. So you don't owe money, then you owe zero, right?
I bought a star.
They're not going to start.
You bought a star that I owe you money.
Okay, so why shouldn't you pay the whole thing?
That's not pshara.
Because you said it's a ziyuf. What do you say?
could say it's a zero, could say I was parade already.
So the basin has to work out if they think that the guy's a real case or not.
What is it? I'm sure one guy always loses.
Yeah.
That's the point of the Litzrach is that they should try as hard as they can to see that there's a claim here whatsoever they have raised Rav Shah.
Right, don't stump hand that money to people.
But not as much as they can, but not more than that.
So now we're going to learn the sugi now of Zabla. We're up to you, Gimel. Zabla. What's Zabla? Zabla is Zeb Boile Layachad, Zeb Boile Layachad. So for whatever reason, there's tremendous milers. Let's see what you think. Well, instead of going to Beis Din, you pick your own dying. You pick your dying, he picks his dying,
And then
everyone picks their own dying. And then they pick a third one, right? So the questions here are, first of all, what happens if I pick Adam Gadol, right? Can you pick anyone you want? You can pick Amoritz, you can pick your friend. How does it work?
What's the definition of a dying?
Anyone. You know,
Literally anyone.
we don't, nowadays there's no smicha. There's no Torah like a smicha, so I pick the dying, I pick the Gadol to be the dying, and when you say, okay, I want my next door neighbor, I want my brother-in-law to be the dying, I want my cousin, you know.
There's no issue of craving.
No, so you can't take your brother-in-law, but take your cousin, he's not Karev.
My best
He'll
friend.
be, yeah, my good buddy, he'll be my dying. Right? And together they'll pick a shlish, you know, that's the din. Or you say, no, I picked Adam Gadol. You've got to pick Adam Gadol. You can't pick like a random guy. Also, what's the mile? This is one of the big mukeres for the Toen Rabani. How can you be a Toen Rabani? You're trying to help some guy out, right? How can you pick a Zabla? What's the whole point of a Zabla? The Shulchan Aruch says.
What's the word?
Zabla. It's Rosh Hashanah says Zeb Beir Layachad. The Zeb Beir Layachad. Each one picks a die, and then together. It's a much better way of doing a basin than going to a random basin. They're going to the basin of, I don't know, you go to knock on a basin, please done us. Why? Because the Shulchan Aruch says each one's going to try and help his guy to pick him. Sounds a little like a Toen Rabani.
Oh, wow.
Now people go to town on it, like that's what Rashi's mashma. Rashi's mashma that you'll be mahapach in the schus. If you're the die and someone picked you, you'll be mahapach in the schus. You'll try and find out, like, that's not Yashus, you're supposed to be done dinem, it's you're dying. Why are you trying to help this guy out? Who cares if he's paying you, it's because he picked you. You see what like a psychological benefit there is of like the guy says, I went to this basin, I picked the basin. They're like, oh, you picked us, we want to automatically try and help you. So when you pick a basin, when you pick a Zabla, he's trying to help you. He's trying to, that's the whole point of it. He tries to be mahapach to try and find your schus. That's like a Toen Rabani basically. You can't come ahead and say, how can you have a Toen Rabani? What do you mean? So in the Shulchan Aruch, Zabla. You can even be the I can be the Toen Rabani and the dying at the same time. But here, I'm not even dying, I'm just a Tayyim, I'm just trying to help him. Right? But for sure, I can even be the dying and be mahapach b'schusai. That's what's mashma. So when you have a Zabla, how does it work? I pick a guy who tries to help me, Benji picks a guy who tries to help him. So how are you going to pass him? They both together pick a shlish, they agree on someone, they both say the case to this guy, and he paskins.
Only one person.
Basically, like only one guy's pasking, unless it's clear that, like, you know, I'm sorry, Habibi, I can't help you out, you've got no case here, then there's nobody going to help you. So, now, and what's better than Zabla? What's better? Each one picks one, each guy picks two, each guy can pick two, Shulchan Aruch says. And then together they pick another person. So there's five altogether. And that's even better than having three. Because you have two guys looking for your schus. The more people you have judging the case, Shulchan Aruch says the closer you're going to get to MS. So if you ever have a serious case, never go to Beis Din, they don't care about you. Pick someone who's going to care about you. Pick two guys. Say, I'll pick two, you pick two. The only problem is there's expenses involved. You know, you're going to have to pay the guy. You know, so Shulchan Aruch says that's okay. Okay, take a look at Shulchan Aruch. Ketzad. Someone says, one of the guys says to Teveya the Nitva, I want to go to Rabbi Cohen.
Where are you?
Yud Gimel Siman Aleph. I only go to Rabbi Cohen. Vama Baldina plenty other me. I go to Rabbi Levi. Hari Elu Shnei Dayanim Shebara Zeh Echad V'Zeh Echad. These two Dayanim Bayer Hen Dayan Shlishi. They both pick a third Dayan. Vein Tzach Shia Dayan Shlishi Baratzon Abali Dinim. Let's say these two Dayanim. Let's say I'm the Teveo the net. I say I don't want that Dayan to be the Shlish. I know he's a mushkos. I hate the guy's guts. I'm not going to know what's called. Too bad.
This is just for a buyer or also
No,
for a din?
any din. We left you in Pshara.
This was
There's
a Pshara. They have to agree on Pshara.
No Pshara anymore. Well, it could be. We'll see. Good question. But each one says, I want to pick this Baal Din. The two Baalei Din and the two Dayanim cannot pick a Shlish. They can't say, no, I don't want that guy to be the Shlish. Too bad.
But the guy he picked, he couldn't have told the case to. He couldn't have had it before.
Good point. We'll see.
What did he say?
He's saying that you can't tell one you'll die in the case.
It's your
before
best friend and he happens to know the case.
You can't tell him the case first, right?
And if he's a Dan Yechidi.
So we'll see, right? We'll see the Shulchan Aruch. Keep going. Vein Tzach Shia Dayan Shlishi Baratzon Abali Dinim. They don't have to agree to the third guy. They can hate him, say, no, I don't want that guy. Too bad. Once you picked your Boirer, they can pick the Shlish. It's a very messy business picking the Shlish. That's why a lot of time people don't do Zabla, because we'll see in a second. It becomes very complicated, right? The three, those three, my dine, your dine, and the third dine, they judge him. What's the beauty of this? You see, the Shulchan Aruch says this is a better way of doing din. You'll get a better din like this. Lamitoi. You get more of the MS. Even if I picked Godla Die, I picked Chaim Kombleth to be a dying, right? Well, I'm glad I got a laugh. That's not a good sign. I feel like dying Chacham Gadol v'Samach Eini Yachalachav is Baldinai Shodanei Tzalzeh. I can't force you to come to my dying. I said, let's go to my dying. Let's go to Rabbi Cohen, right? He's the Godla Die. He's a genius. He's the Gadol. He's got smicha. I can't force you to come to my dying. Elagam hu bayre misharat yitzeh. You pick your dying. You pick your dying. I'll pick my dying. Together we'll get together. We'll sit them down at the table. They'll pick a shlish and kol tov. So I can't force you. Let's go to my Rav. He's a big Rav. Come to Rabbi Cohen. I can't do it because you'll say I got Rabbi
I can't
Shmuel.
force you, but I can tell you, convince you, I can.
Right, and I'll say I've got Rabbi. I like to go to Rabbi Levi. He's a big Rav, and together, Cohen and Levi pick your Rabbi Yisrael, right? Says Ramah, Hagah Shemitayich. So what's the whole idea of a buyer? So the Shulchan Aruch says Yitzel Amitay. Says Ramah, Shemitayich shezeh buyer layechad v'zeh buyer layechad. Abale dinim tzaisim lahem. It's not because you'll come to the MS. The first reason is because they'll listen to you. You picked a dayan. I went to my local Rav and he said, "You paskin against me." I'm going to listen to him. You start go to Beis Din. You say, "I don't care what this Beis Din says. The Mishnah." But when I pick the Rav, I know he's going to work out, try and help me. Then I'm going to listen to the guy. וגם הדיין כל אחד מהפך בסחוס, וגם על כל אחד מהפך בסחוס. איסה שברה, איסה, בכל מה שאפשר מצד הדין. So also, I know he's going to try and be mahapach for my schus. Mm-hmm. That's why I listen to him. Mm-hmm. Why do I listen to the guy? Because I know he tried to help me. He didn't just say, chayev. V'gimel and third line, shemeh taina shneim, u'paiskim ha'emes, tor. So the three together, they'll paskin the emes. Once the third guy will hear the tainas of both of these people, he'll paskin the emes.
So if you choose a dayan, why do you need the Toen Rabani?
You just pick your Toen Rabani to be a dayan.
Right.
So that's what it's kind of like a Toen Rabani, basically, right? But if you go to Beis Din,
You don't want to call it dayan.
if you go to Beis Din, not to Zabla, so what are you going to do? Beis Din's not going to be mahapach in your schus. They don't like you. They don't like the color shirt you're wearing. You know, they like the other
So
guy.
when someone says, I'm hiring a Toen Rabani, the first thing he says, first of all, do Zabla and I'll be your dayan. But you're not allowed to pay him then. You can't pay your dayan.
They can. We'll see. Someone's got to pay them. They got to make a living. You can't bribe him.
You pay him for his bittul done.
Yeah. Well, the Russia is supposed to pay them. It's better if the city pays them, you know, They're not working.
I'm saying if you're
for
hiring a Toen
individuals.
Rabani, you straight up pay the guy whatever he wants
Right.
to be paid.
But he can't be Toen Rabani if there's no other case. He's not allowed to know the case.
He's allowed to know the case, of course. He's
He's
got
allowed to
another
know?
case. He's got another case. You can't be telling me if you don't have the case.
So, it's like,
Doesn't stim.
We'll see. We'll see.
What?
Doesn't stim.
Doesn't work out.
Right.
Yeah.
Dayan Kilu should not know about the case.
Well, we'll see.
He said that's Danichini.
No,
No, even the
even,
Dayan shouldn't know
even
this.
when you choose.
Did you hear the issue? Did you hear it?
In basin together, everyone together. So it says the Shulchan, it says the Ramah. What do you do? What happens if these two dayanim, they can't agree to a shlish, right? And the people, the local, what's his name? Greenberg, who's a city council guy. He gives them the third dayan. Or if there's no manhigim in the city, I guess in Azar there's no manhigim over there. If they gimel, so Tever should just bring this guy to any three dayanim and force him to for a din in front of any base din. Forget about the Zabla. If they can't pick a third guy, just take him to any base din. Why? V'chein. Ima nitva marim livra dain she'enu hagun. That's it. The nitva says, "You've picked one, I pick one. How many willing to go for the third one? You want to sue me? I owe you $1 million. How many willing to go if the third dain is a uncle, right?" And the Tever says, "I don't want you to go to your uncle. I don't want your uncle. Who's your uncle? Let's go to Choshev Arav. No, I'm only willing to go to the uncle. Only uncle's going to be the third guy. And the third guy, he decides everything, right, as we saw. So, the iman is the marim levor dain she'enu hagun kedei l'sheves eitzel dain hagun. Chayfin is a lot if they gimel. You can also force them to go to any three, go to random based in. Commission is Barla El Simon Gimel. I should for Dayan Hogan. Or either I said to you, look, either pick a Dayan Hogan that I'm happy with, or we'll just go to a regular based in. Let's say we both. Oh, this is a big chiddush.
Right.
You pick the guy, and I pick the guy. And then those two guys said Reuven's chayav, right? They both came to Pshar. They both came to Maskana, right?
Well, they trust each
They
other.
agreed. They don't even have to pick a third guy. They don't need a third dayan.
If they make
How
a
does that
decision,
happen?
If they make a decision, they
How
don't
do
need
they
a third.
make the decision without hearing the case?
They
How do
heard the
hear
case.
How do they hear the case without having a whole base of three of them?
They heard the case.
So how do they hear the case? They didn't have three of them sitting down at base then.
Each one told his guy the case.
Oh, so you're allowed to tell your guy the case.
With Zabla, you're allowed to l'chayra.
Oh, so there you go.
We'll see. Well, if you didn't tell him the case, we'll see. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm not sure if it's right in this simon. Hold on, I can't remember exactly where it is. We'll get there. The Yeshayim says the Ramah. Timanit v'ayma shu yivra shnayim. The Nitva says, I'll pick two, but v'ekam ken shnayim. I'll pick two and you pick two. I don't want Zabla. I don't want to pick one. I want to pick two. V'hem yivra chamishi. And together those four will pick a fifth guy. This is going to be even more complicated. Two can't even pick three. How are four going to pick five, right? Those four pick five. Harashus biyadai. So the Nitva can say, I don't want three. Three's not enough for me. I want 5 dayanim. The Chal Zman Shal Dayanim Rabbi Meiseh Yetzad Elamitai. Says the Ramah, huge klal. Always remember this, especially for not going to Dayan Yachid. You go to Dayan Yachid, you're okay, like, what the heck just happened? You went to Dayan Yachid. You go to 3, what happened? You go to 5, it's like, oh, makes a bit of sense, because they got to deal with each other. They got to look these people in the face. What are you, such a crooked guy? That's all what happened. They're like, the more the merrier. It's not that they're crooked. They hear all that stuff, and they argue with each other. It's all turmoil. The more dayanim, the better. Any big cases don't go to 3, go to 5. Who says that? Ramban b'Pirush Lepteira. I don't know where it says that. I'm very curious. Ramban says it on Chumash. The more dayanim, the better.
No, look it up in the problem.
I guess that's why when it comes to Dinei Misa, they had Beis Din Gadol, there's 72 people in the Beis Din. You know, you had more and more dayanim. The more serious the case, you had basin shal. What was it? Shvim Mishtayim, basin shal Shtemes. What was it?
23.
Right, 23. So the more serious the case, the more. Okay, Atkan.
So yeah.
Thank you.